Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. In today's episode, I have a dear friend of mine who I'm so excited to have on the podcast, Brigham Blackham. Welcome to the show, my friend. Thanks for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Brandon. Thank you as well for having me. I'm super stoked to talk about some Harmonious at Lunch nuggets, and I hope today it will be something that you guys can take and create some awesome things for yourself. So thank you.
Nuggets of wisdom. We're definitely not going to have enough time to unpack this topic. It's one that I'm excited, a little bit nervous, and 100% confident that Brigham is the only person to deliver this to you as the audience. We're talking about how the imagination is a place. Yes, I too am lost. I have no idea what he's going to say, but I can't wait for him to say it to you because, like I said, he's the one that you're going to want to hear about this, and definitely follow along and follow his journey because this is a cool topic and he's up to some really cool things. But anyway, we don't have a lot of time. I want to get right down to it. When you say the imagination is a place, everybody's heard of an imagination, right? I think we all know what that is. What are you saying when you say the imagination is a place?
Let me start with a story. My grandfather, he was Leonard Parkin. He talks about this idea of the imagination as a place. And going to the imagination, if you think of it as a place in your mind, it's almost like a dreamland where anything is possible. Everything is possible. There is no way that you can negate things that are happening because everything is possible in your mind. When you go to that place of imagination, anything can happen. I want to share a story of the very best gift that I ever gave. Is it okay if you hear that story?
Please. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is called Stickman. Now, Stickman is something that I wish I had an hour to tell you, but my grandpa, he used to talk about how when he was in St. George, he found this stick. And while he was crushing these little scurrying cockroaches on the ground, he would go in his imagination and shrink down to the size of a bug. And he would go on adventures. He would connect with all these different bugs and wasps and all these different things that allowed him to think of life in a different perspective. And when a few years after I met him, he brought up the physical stick. It was badly beaten. It had this really dark bark texture. And this stick I actually carved for him as a gift. I took the stories that he shared with me, the stories of all these little bugs, these little critters, all the different interactions that he had, going and transforming something that was relatively ugly, to be honest. It was not a beautiful stick, but I turned it into something that he used for his entire life. Last 8-10 years of his life, he walked around with this stick, and it became a symbol for me to remind myself to go to that place of imagination. In his mind, he talked about going and shrinking down to the size of an ant. In business, in life, every single one of us have the opportunity to grab onto something and to go to that place of imagination. Now, why would you do this as a business owner? Why would you do this as a human that wants to be the very best version of yourself? Because if you want to create a possibility for yourself, going there in your imagination first is not only the safest way to do it, it is the most freeing way to go there. Sometimes people start out on a journey and they don't know where they're going. But if you first go there, you have that imagination. It is a place. You can physically go there and see what it would be like. You can put on those goggles, if you will, to imagine what your life could be like if you were around the right people. if you surrounded yourself and you had the lifestyle that you wanted, if you had the community around you that supported you to make all of your dreams come, and you put the textures on that dream so that you could see it, feel it, touch it, hear it. That's the power of the imagination as a place. Now, do you have to have me be the one that gives you permission to go there? No. Literally anybody that wants to use that imagination and go there can do it. Now, as an actor, I had a lot of opportunities early on to be able to pretend and to play. And one of the best compliments I ever got as a teacher was one of my students. He said, "Man, when I'm in your class, it feels like we're playing imagination. We're playing imagination." Now, in business, are you playing imagination? I don't know. In life, are you playing imagination? We often grow up and we lose our creativity. We stop our creative processes because we're not willing to make a mistake, not willing to fail forward. I want to give you guys permission to go to that place of imagination and to create your story of success by allowing yourself to experience those things. You know, Brandon, we just talked on my podcast with you a little bit about how you had someone that they didn't even know that they didn't want to be an entrepreneur until after they talked with you. And they're like, "Oh, wait, I can actually solve all the dreams that I have by being the very best professional that I can." There's nothing wrong with that. We need doctors, we need lawyers, we need people that want to be tied to the desk metaphorically so that you as an entrepreneur can go and live your life in the way that you want to. Some people absolutely love that. So anytime you open up your mind to a possibility, that is going to create something in you that will allow you to feel those experiences. And then you create data for yourself saying, "This is what I want to create. Here's why I want to create it." And you experience those things and you don't say, "Oh, I don't know if that's possible," because that's not in the land of imagination. Everything's possible. You don't put yourself in a hole and say, "Oh, this is the only way that this has been done." Let me give you an example. When I first heard of this framework of dreaming from my friend George Bryant, he talked about how Walt Disney, he had 3 different offices. The first office was a dreaming office. It had clouds. It was beautiful. It was one of those places where he could go and just dream. And that's what we're talking about today. Another office would be that business office, the mechanical office. How do we get this done? What are the pieces that need to come together? What are the people that we need to put in place to make sure this works? Have all the cogs work. What is the way that we could have this happen? Not can it be done, but how could it be done? And then that last idea is the what is the protector or the critic? What are the holes that need to be plugged? What are the challenges that we didn't foresee in our dream that when we're being a realist, we have to maybe say, what is in the realm of possibility right now as far as technology? What new technologies do we need to develop? What processes do we need to put in place? Who has a process already that I could mimic or model? And as you bring these 3 points together, all of them can solve almost any type of communication issue. And today, we don't have enough time to go into all 3 of those, but going into this dream state, going into your imagination, that's the point of today. And Brandon, when you invited me on the podcast, I know you're like, "Man, I don't know where we're going to go with this," but literally, if you give yourself permission to dream again, what could that do for your business? Is there a project that because you haven't spent enough time dreaming about it, adding texture to it, getting the data and the experience of what it could be like if you knew that you might actually throw away before you even start it? Or you might say, "Wow, because I understand the problem so in depth and I have so much texture on it, I basically have it solved already." I think it was Albert Einstein that said, if I had to, cut down a tree and I only had a few moments to do it, like an hour to do it, I'd spend the first 59 minutes or whatever sharpening my axe to make sure that I understood the problem and I articulated the problem really clearly. That's probably not Albert Einstein. I don't know who it was, but somebody said that at some point. But that idea that if we focus on the challenge and we understand it and we know all of the issues that go along with it, then we can solve the problem. But if we don't know where we want to go, we don't know what it looks like, how it feels, and we haven't gone there in our imagination, we haven't created it spiritually before we create it physically, we're building a house without a blueprint. And that's really dangerous. Like, as a real estate investor, I'm not going to build a house without a blueprint. I don't know about you, Brandon, but that sounds really dangerous. But
Absolutely. You're speaking my language there too, because that's people want to start building the house without the blueprint all the time in business.
Yeah.
And I see this with our clients. They want to grow their business. They want to, they want to make more money, whatever. They want to hire more people. They don't know why, first of all, and they haven't even conceptualized what that would look like. But I love this topic and how you're describing it. I also have to think about the other side of it, where I know I've been in this position in my life before running a business, and I know other people are. Maybe some of you, the listeners, are in this moment right now where you can't figure out how to dream. The stresses and anxieties that you've put yourself under, notice my language there, you've put yourself under running your business are so consuming that you can't even dream. So when you say this to people, do they ever push back and say, I can't even fathom dreaming right now? But how do you get them to that place where they even can? Because what you're saying is so powerful.
You have to have a state change. One of the best in the business is Tony Robbins. You have to physically change your state. If in your current state you don't feel like you can, you're probably right. You need a shift in your physicality, in your mentality, your spirituality. And sometimes it can be something as simple as going on a 5-minute walk. Maybe it is doing 20 push-ups. Maybe it's if you're on a Zoom call with somebody, you're like, you know what? In our current box that we're in this business mode, we're in the builder mode, the phase of let's just figure out how to do it. Maybe we need to take a step back and figure out, all right, do we understand the dream? We might have to get off the Zoom call and reschedule it 10, 20 minutes later, go on a walk, do some push-ups, get some physicality, do a physical change, maybe change your clothes, right? Something that's simple enough to say, I am now in a different state of mind. That state of mind could also be something as simple as this. Say your name backwards. You're like, wait, say my name backwards? And they have to think about it. It'll take a moment for you to process that. And
wait, you have to do that because you brought it up. You have to do that now.
Maklab Magreb. There you go. I've never tried to do that. But you say your name backwards.
In the intro. I'll cut that out and say, this is who we're interviewing today.
This is
Maklab Magreb.
Your turn, Brandon. I feel like we need to hear you say it too.
Oh man. Onag Nodnerb.
Nodnarb.
Onag Nodnerb.
Onag Nodnarb. I love it. That's great.
Awesome. You know what? I'm changing my name. It's official. I am Nodnarb from now on. All right, now that we've completely thrown this episode off and nobody's listening anymore, that's awesome. But I interrupted you though. What were you saying about state changes?
State changes. It is essential to make sure that you are showing up in the right state of mind. So here's a visual example. I use this. It's called an effective filter. But you take a sponge, and if it was absolutely saturated with water, and you add more water to it, you don't even know that the sponge has absorbed anything. But if you come to a meeting or you come to something and you've squoze out that water, right? It is now a dry sponge ready to receive. When you pour on that water, that new information, that new idea, you are now open to dream again. You're open to the inspiration. But if you come already thinking you know the answer, you do. And your mind says, oh, I already know this. I already know what to do. That's not what the purpose of going to the imagination place is. The purpose is what could be done? What else do I need to know about this? And playing in that space and exploring. You know, in theater, one of the most freeing things as an actor and as someone that's putting on a show is the discoveries that come after you thought you already knew the story. You can make connections. You can see different ways to make choices. And as a business owner, connecting those unconnected dots, that can sometimes be problems that are thousands and thousands of dollars in value. When you connect a dot for someone that they could not see before, that's the value of association. When you connect dots in a simple format that someone can use without you being there, that's part of the value in what you give them. When you look back on your life, there are times where if you go there with your imagination, you can experience it before you physically have to go there. But if you are so close-minded that you have to physically be in the space to imagine it, then you miss out on a lot of the anticipation. Part of the excitement of Christmas is thinking, ooh, I wonder what's in the box. I wonder what's in that present. What could mom and dad have gotten me? And sometimes in business, because we don't ask the right questions, we don't get the right answers. Going to that place of imagination is just like this. My daughter, a few weeks ago, she just finished a series that was called Wings of Fire. And I should have an affiliate link for Wings of Fire, but no, Wings of Fire. She just finished all those books, and she was reading the illustrated version. And she talked to me and my wife right after she finished that. She's like, "Man, I really like the illustrated version, but I want to read the regular novels." What she didn't know was my wife and I had already bought that book, and we were planning on giving it to her for a trip that we were going on like in a month. And because she asked for it, my wife walks into the other room, gets it off the shelf, and hands it to her. And it was like magic. It was as good as Christmas morning. The eyes were huge. She's like, "Oh, how did you know? How did you know?" As a parent, if your kids are into something, you just know what they want next. As a business owner, is it possible that you can anticipate the needs, the challenges, the struggles that your guests, as a short-term rental house, as your guests or as your customers, your clients, you anticipate those needs, and as soon as they ask for it, you say, "I've got that on the shelf. Here you go." Is it possible that you could go there in your imagination and you say, "Hey, here's the newest product we have. What is the next problem that they're going to create by buying my product? Let's solve that one. What's the next problem they're going to face because they bought that product?" And if you have that type of relationship with someone, that as soon as they ask, "Hey, you know what? I really need a place to stay. I'm over here in San Pete County, and I need a place to stay." I was like, "Well, I've got 6 places for you that are really close to Manti Temple." Like, great. You can anticipate needs. And when you anticipate a need and you fulfill on the need, all they need to do is ask. They just need to inquire, and you can give them what they want. So in business, in life, if you think this tool is only for kids, you're kidding yourself. And part of the play framework that you guys talk about, being harmonious, if you're not willing to play, even go there in your mind, if you can't imagine it, it's because you didn't try. You didn't actually put the work in to ask the questions. All that thinking is asking and answering questions. You go to the place of imagination, you see what is possible, because just like this stick man, right? I do this example when I give this as a speech, but I want you, here's a little call to action. I want you guys to draw out your dream. You can't use words. The restriction is, as a stick man, I want you to draw out what it would be like, and then add texture. What would it feel like? And you can draw it again. You don't have to be a great artist to imagine this. As a business owner, if you do this, imagine how much more clarity you can gain. Imagine what would be possible if on your next product launch, on your next service, that you could draw it out. What would that customer journey be like? What would that experience be like? Because people don't care so much about what you do. They care about why you do it. And then the experience they had while they were going through your product or service. Was it a great experience? Fantastic. They're going to leave you a 5-star review. But when they have an awful experience, those 1-star reviews can absolutely crush your confidence as a business owner. And they will happen sometimes because maybe you didn't stay in that place of imagination long enough to experience it from your guest's point of view. I've got one more story for you. This was actually 2 years ago. My wife and I, we went to Cancun. Not Cancun, where was it? It was where I met Greg. Well, we went overseas. I'll think of the place. But we show up. It's been almost 20 hours on plane rides and flights and everything. And we have this bus boy, basically, this guy that's just walking us to our room, and he's supposed to provide a great experience. And all we want to do is get to bed. We just want to not talk to people. And at this hotel, the guy opens up the door for us. We're like, great, thank you. We're like, here's $1 or $2. And he comes into our room, and I was like, okay, how do I get rid of this guy? He's like, here's your beds, and here is your bathroom. Oh, and here's the deck, and we have all these different amenities. Like, okay, all right, thank you. And doing my very best to get him out of our room. And it just reminded me that sometimes we can overserve, thinking that we are doing the right thing, when often doing a little bit less would leave a better impression on your guests, would leave a better impression on your customers. And you have to be that customer sometimes to experience it. And you can experience that in your head beforehand. You can act what it would be like. You can improvise with a team in a safe setting and say, well, here's our customer journey as it is. Let's actually pretend to go through it. And I want you to act as if this was you. And you go there. And the imagination is a place because you can go there. And I hope that you guys go there. Go there often. Improve your products, your services, your processes, because you were willing to imagine what it was like and then experience it and relive those experiences. That's a way that you very safely can create products, services, and make your business grow and thrive, is living in that box for a time, not always, but for a time, so you can gain that clarity. And if you want a little more clarity on the next steps, I'd love to have a conversation. Brandon, did that help you as far as the framework of the imagination as a place?
You over-delivered. I have a very clear picture of exactly what you're talking about, which it makes so much sense. It actually reminds me of this is not planned. It's just one of my favorite books, Above My Head. For those of you watching, Never Lose a Customer Again by Joey Coleman. If you haven't read the book, please read the book. Go grab it. But this is, he touches on this a little bit about, imagining your customer's experience. And that is the key to growing your business. I can attest to that. Is retention of customers is the fastest way to grow a business, and almost nobody prioritizes it. What you're saying takes that to a new level, which I absolutely love. But it's so much more than that too, because you can layer this onto anything. Growing your business, making more money, making the experience more fun for your employees. We often overlook our employees. What could it be like to envision a better day for them in your company? Yeah. You want people to stay a long time, both internally and externally. So Brigham, I love this conversation. I can't thank you enough for being here. And I was right. We don't have enough time to do this justice. And people should absolutely take this next step and learn more about you. So what's the best place? I know, actually, let me say real quick, I was just on your podcast, the Leveling Up podcast. Thank you for having me. We'll include links to that down below.
Absolutely.
So we can listen to your podcast. What else can we do to hear more from you and connect with you?
Well, one of the things that I'm really excited about is I'm producing a class with the Final Percent Network. So what you can do is you go and download TFP Totality. It's a free app. We've got 99 days of content that's for free. You can experience it, feel what it's like to be involved with us, because we like to do cool things with cool people, and come to some of our events, get to know us. And that's for the next year or two. That's probably the easiest place to find me, is go to that app, because I'm going to keep doing stuff with the Final Percent Network because I absolutely love them. Love Greg Kimball, what he's put together. And we're intricately connected with that group. And I'm so grateful to help push power towards power. He's someone that I want to make the world more aware of, because he's made such a deep impact on me. And I hope that if you want to experience this imagination as a place, that we'll watch that class, because one of the lessons is actually going to go a little bit more in depth on that experience. So look forward to that and download the app because it's free. It's free. And then after you join, we have multiple ways that you can connect with us on a paid level, but at least come and experience it because you owe it to yourself to go there.
That's fantastic. I must say this too. I'm a part of the Final Percent as well. I'm in this community. Yes, they are cool people. Yes, they are doing cool things. I should say we are cool people. We are doing
We
cool
are
things.
cool people and we're doing cool things.
I'll definitely put the link. We'll make sure the link to the app is down below. What is it called one more time?
TFP totality. Yep.
Okay, that's if you want to
And
search
if
in
you're
the app
on
store. That's what
Samsung right now, just go to thefinalpercent.com.
okay. It'll
That's where
all
you
be
can find
there. By the
I'll be
time
there.
this comes out, it should be even fixed on Android. But anyway, yeah, come to an event, come hang out. I know me and Brigham are going to be in person in about a month from this recording. Our
Woo!
families are going to get together. Let's do a little pitch for this too, because this is one of the only masterminds and communities where kids are not only accepted, but they're welcome. They're actually, you actually want kids to be there. You can bring your family. I'm bringing my family and my wife. First time ever that my family will be involved with a business type event. It's one of a kind. It's very unique. I promise you, you will never find another community like this in the world. It's where me and Brigham met, and he already spoke about Greg. Greg Kimball is an awesome, amazing human being who we both love dearly. I know I can speak for you confidently on that one. So
For sure.
come hang out with us. All the links are down below. This has been fantastic. Thank you, Brigham, for coming.
Absolutely, Brandon. It was a pleasure to be here. God bless.
For those of you watching and listening, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, and you go deeper and take that next step. We hope to see you at the next TFP event in a city maybe near you. It's a world tour at this point, it feels like, but make sure you subscribe. We want to keep delivering these episodes of Harmonious at Lunch 5 days a week so you can grow a more harmonious business and life. We will see you on tomorrow's episode. Thanks for joining.